Journey to the West in Vernacular. Chapter 23. Sun Wukong's three-tune banana Fanguinian returned to the South China Sea. Tang Seng and his disciples thanked the family and continued on their way. The journey was uneventful, and 1 year passed before I knew it. One day they felt the weather was hot and felt strange. Tang Monk asked Wukong to go and find out the situation. Wukong came to a village and found out that it was called the Flame Mountain. There were 800 miles of flames on the mountain that no one could cross. Tang Seng and his disciples decided to spend the night in this villa, and wanted to know how to cross the mountain. The owner of the village told them that there is a banana cave in Qian Mountain, 1,000 miles to the southwest. The owner of the cave, Princess Iron Fan, has a banana fan. If you fan it once, the fire will be extinguished. If you fan it twice, the wind will blow. If you fan it 3 times, it will rain. Here the common people beg her once every 10 years, asking her to cast rain so that they can grow some food to make a living. After hearing what he said, Wukong rode a cloud to Qian Mountain and asked a woodcutter about Princess Iron Fan's residence. The woodcutter told Wukong, "People here call Princess Iron Fan Rakshasa. She is the wife of the Bull Demon King." When Wukong heard this, he thought to himself, "Oh no, back then I captured her son Hong Hair, but will she lend me the fan now?" Wukong guessed correctly. When the Rakshasa girl heard that Sun Wukong was coming, she immediately took the Kingfeng sword and walked out of the cave door and shouted, "Where is Sun Wukong?" Wukong quickly stepped forward and saluted and said, "Sister-in-law, I was the Bull Demon King back then. Brothers sworn in Huaguo Mountain." When the Rakshasa girl heard this, she became even more angry and pointed at Sun Wukong and scolded him for not subduing Red Boy back then. In order to borrow the precious fan, Wukong let the Rakshasa girl chop her on the head more than a dozen times without fighting back. Seeing that she couldn't hurt him at all, the Rakshasa girl was so frightened that she turned away. Seeing that the Rakshasa girl refused to borrow the precious fan, Wukong took out the golden cudgel from his ear and blocked her way. The two fought on Qian Mountain. Rakshasa and Wukong continued to fight until the evening. Seeing that Wukong was getting more and more energetic, she knew that he was not his opponent, so she took out a banana fan and fanned it. Immediately, a strong wind blew Wukong somersault after somersault all night long, until dawn. Finally, holding a peak stone, it fell to Xiaoxumi Mountain. Wukong remembered that Lingji Bodhisattva lived here and decided to ask him for advice. Lingji Bodhisattva gave the wind-fixing pill that Tathagata Buddha had given him back then to Wukong. Wukong put the wind-fixing pill in his arms, rode the clouds back to Qian Mountain, and came to the Rakshasa girl to borrow a fan. The Rakshasa girl still refused to borrow it. After fighting with Wukong a few times, she felt that she was tired of it. She took out her fan and slapped Wukong hard, but Wukong didn't move. The Rakshasa girl fanned twice more, and when she saw that Wukong was still motionless, she couldn't help but feel a little panicked. She quickly put away her treasure and fled back to the cave, closing the door and refusing to come out. Wukong had no other choice, so he put the wind-fixing pill in his mouth, transformed into a small insect, and crawled into the hole from the crack in the stone. I happened to hear the Rakshasa girl shouting, "I'm so thirsty, please bring me some tea." When Wukong heard this, he had an idea. He spread his wings and flew into the tea foam. When the Rakshasa girl opened her mouth to drink tea, he got into her belly and shouted, "Sister-in-law, please lend me your fan quickly." After that, the Rakshasa girl opened her mouth to drink tea. She was kicked and beaten in the stomach, causing the Rakshasa girl to turn pale in pain, crying and rolling around on the ground, shouting, "Uncle Sun, please spare my life." Wukong didn't stop until the Rakshasa girl agreed to borrow the fan. He was afraid that the Rakshasa girl would change his mind, so he would not come out until he had a look at the fan. The Rakshasa girl quickly asked the girl to take out a banana fan and showed it to Wukong. When Wukong saw it, he asked the Rakshasa girl to open her mouth 3 times. As soon as the Rakshasa girl opened her mouth, he flew out and landed on the fan. When the Rakshasa girl wasn't paying attention, Wukong showed his true form, took the fan, and left the Basho cave. He drove the cloud back to his residence, bid farewell to the owner of the village with Tang Monk, and embarked on the road to the west again. Unexpectedly, after walking for more than 40 miles, my feet were burned. Wukong asked everyone to take a break and went up the mountain to put out the fire with a banana fan. Wukong jumped to the fire with a banana fan. He fanned it hard and saw flames flying around. He fanned it again, and the fire became much stronger than before. He fanned it again, and the fire was higher than the hills. Fortunately, Wukong ran fast, otherwise, the monkey's hair would have been burned away. Wukong ran to his master and asked them to lead the horse back 20 miles. Just when they couldn't figure out what was going on, the landmaster came over and told them that this fan was fake. If they wanted to borrow a real fan, they had to find the Bull Demon King, and this flame mountain was where Wukong was the hero. Naoshan Palace was captured by Erlang Shen and placed in Taisheng Laojin's Bagua furnace. When the furnace was turned on, Wukong kicked down the alchemy furnace and several fire bricks fell. According to the instructions of Lord Tutu, Wukong went to Moyen Cave in Jili Mountain to find the Bull Demon King. Outside the cave, he happened to meet his little wife, Princess Jade Face. When she heard that, Wukong said that Princess Iron Fan sent to invite the Bull Demon King, she ran back to the cave in anger. Inside, he was crying and fussing in front of his husband. The Bull Demon King asked about the situation, thinking how could there be a monk in the Basho cave. The Bull Demon King was a little suspicious, so he dressed up and came out with a stick. When he saw Sun Wukong taking away his son, he couldn't help but get angry and hit him on the head with an iron stick. Wukong raised his golden cudgel to greet him. The two of them went back and forth and fought for more than 100 rounds without deciding the winner. It wasn't until someone called the Bull Demon King to go to the banquet that he put away his stick and returned to the cave. The Bull Demon King changed his armor, rode the water-resisting, golden-eyed beast, and rode the clouds to the northwest. Wukong could see clearly in the cloud, and it turned into a breeze and followed him. When he came to a pool, the Bull Demon King suddenly disappeared. Wukong thought that he had got into the water. So, he turned into a crab and jumped into the water to find it. It turns out that the old dragon spirit is hosting a banquet. When Wukong saw the water-repellent golden-eyed beast tied to a stone pillar outside the palace, he secretly untied it, decided to ride on it, become the Bull Demon King, and go to the Rakshasa girl to cheat the banana fan. Wukong rode the water-bearing golden-eyed beast to Qian Mountain. The Rakshasa girl had not seen her husband for 2 years, so she was very happy and had no doubts at all. Wukong deliberately said that he was afraid that the Rakshasa girl would lend the banana fan to his enemy, so he hurried back to help. Upon hearing this, the Rakshasa girl quickly ordered to serve wine for the king to wash away his dust. After drinking for a while, the Rakshasa girl was already a little drunk. She looked charming and fell straight into Wukong's arms. Wukong pretended to deal with it and told her to hide the fan. The Rakshasa girl smiled and said, "I'll take it. How can a monkey steal it if it's hidden in his mouth?" He took out a fan the size of an almond leaf from his mouth and handed it to Wukong. Wukong took the fan and asked, "How can such a small fan extinguish the flames of 800 miles?" The Rakshasa girl complained that her husband should not forget the power of her treasure. While complaining, he said the spell to make the fan bigger. Wukong remembered it in his heart, put the fan in his mouth, changed back to his original appearance, and ran out. Wukong came out of the cave and recited the formula. The fan really grew bigger and bigger. However, he didn't know the formula to make the fan smaller, so he had to put a large banana fan on his shoulders and go back the same way. Besides, when the Bull Demon King came out after the banquet, he couldn't find the waterproof golden-eyed beast, so he guessed that Wukong had stolen it. Then he drove Huang Yun straight to Qian Mountain. However, it was too late. The banana fan had long been deceived by Sun Wukong. The Rakshasa girl scolded the Bull Demon King because she made a fool of herself in front of Wukong. The Bull Demon King was so angry that he thought of a plan and turned into Zhu Bajie to ask Wukong for a fan. Wukong was very happy because he got the treasure fan. Without any doubt, he gave the fan to the fake Bajie and asked him to carry it. The fake Bajie took the banana fan and was secretly happy. He silently recited the formula, made the fan smaller and hid it, and returned it to its original appearance. When Wukong took a look, he was shocked to find that he had been tricked. Swing the iron rod and hit him on the head. The Bull Demon King drew his sword to meet each other, and the two of them fought from the ground to the air, and the fight was inextricable. Tang Monk learned from the Earth God that the Bull Demon King also had 72 changes, so he asked Bajie to help Wukong. The Bull Demon King and Wukong fought for a long time and were exhausted. Suddenly Bajie came to kill him, and the rake was fierce and crazy. The Bull Demon King could no longer resist it, and while fighting, he retreated towards Moyen Cave in Jili Mountain. When the Jade-Faced Princess saw this, she hurriedly ordered the little demon to come out of the cave to help in the battle. Wukong and Bajie were caught off guard and ran away in defeat. For this reason, Wukong felt depressed, and Bajie sat on the ground dejectedly. At this time, the land god came out to persuade them not to give up. After hearing this, Wukong regained his energy, led Bajie and the earth god to rush to the entrance of Moyan Cave and smash the door. The Bull Demon King was very angry when he heard the report, and hurried out of the cave to fight. Although he fought bravely, he still couldn't stop the iron rod and the rake, so he hurriedly transformed into a white crane and flew away. Wukong also turned into a red phoenix and chased after him. The phoenix is the king of birds, so the Bull Demon King had no choice but to fly down the cliff and turn into a fragrant deer again. Wukong immediately turned into a hungry tiger to catch the deer. The Bull Demon King turned into a lion to catch the hungry tiger. Wukong rolled on the spot and turned into a giant elephant, swinging his long trunk to catch the lion. Upon seeing the Bull Demon King, he revealed his original body, turned out to be a big white bull with 2 horns like towers, more than 8,000 feet tall, and said to Wukong, "What else can you do to me?" Wukong shouted, "Chang." Immediately, he was 10,000 feet tall, holding a big iron rod in his hand, and hit the Bull Demon King. The battle between them alarmed the gods in the sky, and all the gods came down to help Wukong. Seeing that the situation was not good, the Bull Demon King recovered his original posture, turned around and ran towards Basho Cave. The immortals chased him and surrounded him. When the Bull Demon King saw that he was surrounded, he turned into a big white bull and pushed towards King Li Tianwang with his iron horn. Naja, with his sharp eyesight and quick hands, threw out the hot fire wheel and hung it on the horn of the bull, blowing the real fire, which made the Bull Demon King scream in pain. King Li Tianwang took the opportunity to look at the demon with a mirror. The Bull Demon could no longer move, so he had to surrender and agreed to give up his precious fan. The Rakshasa girl had no choice but to go out of the cave with her fan and offer it to extinguish the fire. She told Wukong that as long as he fanned 7 or 49 times, the roots of the fire would be cut off. When the gods saw the Rakshasa girl offering her precious fan, they took the old cow back to heaven to resume their lives. Wukong came to the flame mountain and fanned 49 times. Suddenly, the fire on the mountain was extinguished and the wind started to rise, and drizzle and cool breeze began to fall all over the world. After extinguishing the fire, Wukong returned the precious fan to the Rakshasa girl. The Rakshasa girl took the fan, recited a spell, turned the fan into the size of an apricot leaf, and held it in her mouth. The next day, Tang Seng and his disciples packed their luggage and set off on the road. The Rakshasa girl and the local land god came to see her off. Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.